following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today. On the program, we'll be talking with Joe T. Williams, a little NASCAR, the Ally 400. Will be at the Nashville Superspeedway coming up this weekend. A whole weekend of festivities. We'll chat with him about all of those. Also, NUBYJAS WILBORN, our friend from AL.com, who covers the Auburn Tigers, and that does include a College World Series baseball team with a big win yesterday, an elimination game. They continue on. We'll play again, I believe, tomorrow. We'll chat with him on the Tigers out in Omaha. Chip Walters, our normal Tuesday visit on all things MTSU, Braves, chatter, and so much more. And it is Top 5 Tuesday, and today, sports documentaries. Oh, boy. Sports documentary is going to be a fun one, gentlemen. The Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop kid from Alabama, Chris Yao, from our above the rim camera, maybe.
That sounds like
we'll call that above the rim angle.
It's kind of fitting with the draft this week, I guess.
There we go. What's going on out there? Everybody having a great day, I hope. Mo, how about you? You having a good day? It's been an interesting start to the week, no question there. Yesterday, we had the pleasure of speaking with Columbia State Community College baseball coach Mike Korn. If you missed that, feel free to go back and listen as we talked a little bit about Ole Miss baseball, who got a big win last night. And I didn't watch I stopped watching about sixth inning because I had to get Charlie ready for bed. I still have no idea if Brandon Johnson pitched or not, but
in a 13-5 game,
your closer probably didn't.
The closer probably didn't get.
But he might need some work. I mean, he hasn't pitched in a while.
It has been a while.
So I guess he may have worked inning. I didn't go back and look. But anyway, former Columbia State star, really pitcher of the week nationally for the Chargers at one time, pitching for Ole Miss, and they get a big win and they stay in the winner's bracket. So go back and listen to that podcast. But one thing that we didn't mention because, well, we didn't know, and Coach Korn, not one to
doesn't talk a lot about himself.
Yeah, not want to talk much about himself at all. Also didn't mention that he happened to be the victim of an apartment fire last week where and I saw this. It was an older home that was in 5 or 6 different units. His apartment complex, the entire home caught fire, and he lost pretty much everything while he was on a fishing trip in Minnesota, you said? And so there has been a GoFundMe put together, and if you would like to contribute to that GoFundMe, you can do so. We have a link. It is our pinned tweet on Twitter. You can head straight to that link. He's not one to ask for help. He has not asked for help, but we would like to help as much as we can, if at all possible. So,
and if you don't have Twitter, you can just go to GoFundMe.com and search for Coach Mike Korn House Fire. That's the heading for that. So you can do that in case you don't have that direct link. You can find it there.
Looking at the box score from last night to answer your question, Brandon Jones did pitch the 9th, and in a non-safe situation, you know how that works. Gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, both earned, but had 2 strikeouts in the 13-5 win over Arkansas.
They don't know how to pitch in non-high leverage situations, do they? Well, again, you're pitching to contact, though. You're not really pitching for strikeouts. You're pitching to get outs. And that's understandable. It happens.
And again, they won 13-5.
Yeah,
so,
it doesn't matter.
They weren't gave up a 2-run homer.
But
like you said, you're not out there to walk folks in that situation, and he didn't. So, got it over with. And Ole Miss, as you said, is one of 2 undefeated teams in Omaha at this point. The other being Oklahoma. And of the 6 teams remaining, 4 are still from the SEC.
That is correct. So there you go. JP, let's send it to you real quick before we get into our top story and get yesterday's results, today's schedule on the rundown.
You got it.
Here's the rundown.
Let's do it.
This is your Tuesday Rundown brought to you by Jim Davis at Grow Live Give. Visit them at growlivegive.com or give them a call at 615-682-0022. Securities offered through IFP Securities, LLC, DBA Independent Financial Partners, IFP member, FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through IFP Advisors, LLC, DBA Independent Financial Partners, Registered Investment Advisor. IFP and Grow Live Give are not affiliated. All right, looking at what we've got from yesterday. Braves over the Giants last night, 2-1, as they start that new series. The Pirates big over the Cubs, 12-1, and the Brewers. Hey, the Brewers, but it's not against the NL East. They finally get a win, 2-1 over the Cardinals. In the Men's College World Series yesterday, elimination game. Auburn over Stanford 6-2. They continue on in the SEC West Invitational out in Omaha. Ole Miss defeated Arkansas 13-5. So it'll be Auburn and Arkansas in an elimination game. Ole Miss 2-0, looking awfully good out in Omaha. NHL last night. We had a feeling, Chris. The Ning 6-2 over Colorado. That series now 2-1. Colorado leads that.
Won a little cash.
There you go. Yeah, sometimes you just got to go with the gut.
Made a little cash. He'll take it.
But that was an easy one, right? 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs. They're going to bounce back, and they did. Today's schedule, looking at the Dodgers, the Reds at 5:40 this afternoon. The Cubs and the Pirates 6:05 first pitch. The Braves continue their series with the San Francisco Giants. It'll be on TBS tonight, turning the clock back a little bit. 6:20 first pitch there, and at 7:10 on FS1, the Cardinals and the Brewers. The Sounds begin their series with Gwinnett at First Horizon, 7:05 p.m. tonight. And if you can't make it to the ballpark, you can listen to the lovely tones of Jeff M. on 94.9 ESPN Radio. So check it out. We'll be with him on Fridays. We are each and every Friday. The Men's College World Series today, it is Texas A&M and Notre Dame. They threw out the first pitch. They're about an hour into that one. Have you got an update on top of hand? All right, circle back around as we'll see how that one looks. Arkansas and Auburn at 6. Is that tonight?
Yeah.
Arkansas and Auburn tonight? Okay. On
Winners
ESPN.
Winners bracket, folks, get the rest.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they are both 2-0, aren't they? WNBA Dallas and Atlanta tonight, 6 o'clock, NBA TV on CBS Sports Network. You'll see Chicago and Las Vegas. That's a 9 p.m. Opening tip. Also at 9, NBA TV, Minnesota and Phoenix.
It is currently 3-0 Texas A&M, middle of the third. A&M, the visiting team against Notre Dame.
Okay, so the SEC West Invitational looks like it may continue. That is your Tuesday Rundown brought to you by Jim Davis and GrowLiveGive.com.
All right. So when top stories are about retirements, is this the gold watch segment? Do they give out gold watches?
Well, I guess since they are retiring from
Both from football.
I guess it's still the opening kickoff.
Or it's the final kneel, since they're no longer
Victory formation.
The victory formation. There we go.
Yeah.
I like it. Victory formation. I'm for that. Rob Gronkowski has announced that he will not participate in OTAs or preseason practice out in the heat and is retiring.
Smart man.
For now. But his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, says, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back.
After OTAs and preseason practice?
In the heat. Nick Cole, at Nick Cole Sports, one of the a fantastic follow if you don't follow him, said, see you in October, buddy.
former co-worker.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a good dude. Yeah, Nick's a lot of fun. And He is a good follow.
And he nailed that one
and
because that's exactly what he said. So translation, he just doesn't want to practice in the heat. And you know what? I don't blame him.
I'm not mad at him.
No.
Shoot.
Go wrestle for a couple. Yeah, he'll probably be at SummerSlam or something.
If you can get away with it, why not?
And who's going to tell Gronk no?
Come when you want to, bro. We'll be here.
Just get here when you can.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get here.
So, there you go. But one player who doesn't look to be finding his way back to the field because he's now got a place in the booth is Ryan Fitzpatrick, Titans legend, Fitzmagic. Headed to Prime, you said, JP?
Yes, the Thursday Night Football, Al Michaels and Herbie. Yep.
So they're going with a 3-man booth?
I don't know if he's in the booth or not, but he's joining the crew in some capacity.
As a quarterback, as a former quarterback, I guess, why would you not have him in the booth? I mean, why would you put him on the sidelines?
Well, you know,
he wouldn't be on the sidelines. If he's not in the booth, I would imagine he would be in the studio.
well, you know,
But I'm not sure. I'm going to do a little research
what's
here.
the guy
do that.
from Washington? Brock
Heward?
Heward. So he was on the sideline for the USFL. And I know that's a little bit different because they're like literally interviewing players in the middle of the game. But so you need someone with some football knowledge, like some deep here, you know, what am I looking at? And then I can tell the booth what I'm looking at kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see it if they're going to do something, you know, drastic like that.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Fitzpatrick is certainly a character, and I feel like his mindset translates well to broadcasting. So
Here's his capacity. According to USA Today, the first one that I came up with, a quote from the press release that he will be joining Tony Gonzalez, Richard Sherman on Amazon Prime's Thursday Night Football pregame, halftime, and postgame
there you
coverage.
So he'll be in the studio.
So
like
the
you said.
proverbial studio. I would.
Who's going to direct that?
It's a good question.
Who's the
host,
host of that?
the ringleader.
I'll tell you
Scrolling
what.
down. It's a good
So
question.
you've got Fitzpatrick,
Mm-hmm.
who's in Harvard grad. You got Tony Gonzalez, who graduated from Cal. And you got Richard Sherman, who graduated from Stanford.
That may be the most intelligent
grouping
you could ever have put together. Yeah, that's impressive.
It really is.
All right, let's JP, you got anything else there? You're typing, so I know you're looking for something.
Yeah, I'm trying to see to find that question of who is going to be
Host?
who's the actual broadcaster of that group. I say
Certainly
that
not
in
those
loosely
three.
terms, but I mean, those were all athletes, so somebody's going to
facilitate
and say, "Welcome in," and then
And then turn it and then get out the way. Yeah.
Well, if they don't have anybody, might I suggest? I know a couple of folks, in this room who might be interested in such a gig.
Speak for yourself. I'm not smart enough to hang out with those guys.
I'm smart enough to shut up and let them
That's
talk,
right.
though.
That's right. Thursday, Amazon Prime, Thursday Night Football. Go.
Welcome in.
That's all you need.
I've got some great co-hosts here. We'll let them talk. No, seriously. I mean, anyway. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will look. It's NASCAR week in Nashville, so we're going to talk a lot of NASCAR this week. So we're going to start with Joe Williams of the Williamson Herald because he has a story. I'm sure it's coming out in tomorrow or Thursday's Williamson Herald. I don't know when the Herald publishes. But he's got a story out, I'm sure, about parking and how things have kind of changed a little bit because it was such a mess last year. So stick around. We'll get to him right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Just getting underway here, Main Street Sports Today. Remind you, coming up, NUBYJAS WILBORN, a busy show today. Talking a little Auburn baseball, and then later we got Chip Walters as well. We'll send it back over to Mr. Mo Patton. He's going monotone with his color today after that coral shirt, Chris. It looked good yesterday. Very colorful. But he's going with the gray. But a fresh cut, right?
Yes.
Yes, a fresh cut.
Yeah.
Needed.
Fresh cut. Smells fresh.
Got to look good when you're, in front of all those people and receiving awards and such.
Don't remind me of that, because it'll get in my head and I'll trip going across the stage or something.
Well, at least Joe Williams will not be the one bringing you onto the stage and trying to embarrass you. So there's that.
Don't give him any ideas. He'll figure
He'll
out a
show
way.
up.
Yeah.
Joe, what's going on, man?
Well, I'm having to make some immediate change in travel plans, obviously.
That's my bad, Mo.
Yeah. See what you did?
Oh, Joe, appreciate you taking some time with us. I know you were working on a story on the Ally 400's parking situation and and traffic. I'm not sure if that has posted yet or not, or has been published, but wanted to get you on to talk a little bit about that, because last year was a bit of a boondoggle.
Guys, look, there's a couple of things that have happened, and for some reason that I truly don't understand. Traffic has always been an issue at Nashville Superspeedway. I mean, when we opened it in 01, and at the last race when it closed after 11, it was the same situation. I think they've made some really good changes, and I think they listened. The biggest thing is there had I know you're laughing.
The battle.
No, let me tell you something. Eric Moses is the vice president out there, and you can say whatever you want to, but there's one thing about that man: he listens. Now, he may not always give you back the answer you want, but he will listen. And one of the things fans were talking about, they actually had a charge last year for parking. And so every car that came in was getting stopped and making change and doing this and doing that. And that just getting in, it just backed everything up. So they've eliminated that. There's no parking charge now.
Free parking.
And they've added about
way better,
almost 3,000 new parking spots just across McCrary Road. Now, if you've been there before, you You come off of, for example, you come off of I-40 onto Bill France Boulevard or 452, whatever you want to call it. And the main road to the track, to the main track entrance, is McCrary Road. And they've added about 3,000 spots just across the street to make it easier to walk up. That's getting in. Getting out, they've already said, and this will not make some racers and teams their fans. However, they are going to hold all the infield traffic for at least an hour so that the fans can get out of the grandstands, get to their cars, and get started out. Last year, part of the problem was, those that were in the infield and inside the racetrack, Jack, they boogied straight to the vehicles. They came out of the tunnel and they just clogged everything up trying to get out of there. So that's something they're going to do all three events and hold that infield traffic in.
That's a start. And here's the thing is you got to start somewhere. Not stopping folks. We thought there may be, I say we, the collective NASCAR fandom thought there may be a parking included in the ticket, or you have to buy a parking pass ahead of time and just show it. But that's still going to slow folks down. So just having them come in and find an usher, get in a parking spot, and get out. And the way that they're forcing folks to certain areas around the track, it seems like this is at least, again, a good start. And if it works, great. Or what does work, we can keep and we can tweak in the future.
Hey, you're right, Chris. It's the start. Let's get this thing moving. They've gone so far. They know the heat is coming. So in kind of a really rare move, they're now allowing sealed bottled water and clear bags to come in. No loose ice. You freeze the bottles up. You take it in with you. You can bring in your cold cups, if you will, as long as they're empty.
Colorful.
Speaking
like
of
that?
colors,
You like that? Yeah. It's green on the inside. Imagine that.
Go figure. Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Yeah.
But if they're empty, you can bring them in and then fill them. They've got a number of water filling stations. They're doing everything they can to make this the event that everybody thought it should be. Part of this, one, Eric Moses listens. Secondly, I think he's probably, and I can get in trouble for this, I guess, but I think he's probably gotten a little more free reign to do things that he needs to do with the new management that's taken over. Charlotte Motor Speedway Motorsports has long been known as probably the most fan-friendly bunch in this business. So I'm sure he's probably been told, hey, just go do what works for you there. And he's taken that and he's running with it.
Joe Williams of the Williamson Herald with us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Joe, I want to go back for a second to the free parking, because how much financially, what's the impact of that?
I would say
days.
For 3 days, it's a six-figure deal. It's exactly like Chris was talking about. If you're smart, you just build it into the ticket. If you figure you're going to charge $20 to park, average car has 4 people, so up the ticket's $5, and it all comes out. Now, I don't know if they did that or not. I'm not privy to,
because he doesn't pay to get in.
That's right, he doesn't have to pay to get in, so he doesn't know what the tickets cost.
Well, I like tickets that go up, because hopefully that kind of trickles down. That's the old Reagan in me, that trickle down theory. I still haven't seen it work, but I'm hopeful.
Did you get a raise?
Not that I know of.
Well, there you go.
But,
Joe is like me. He's just like, when I get the check, I'll see how much I made.
Yeah.
Must be something about Joe's. Joe Blair with that same
thing, Joe
approach a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So.
Well, I've been doing this so doggone long, guys, that I just show up.
You guys are paying me? Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's Pavlovian in many ways. Oh, there's a race. Okay, hand me the microphone. Yeah,
must be mine. Now, last year, you kind of tag team this event. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that the situation again this time around? How is that working?
Yeah, Chase McCabe is due back. A lot of folks know Chase from the local radio stations and some of the stuff that he does with Channel 17 and such. And Chase is, it's funny. Chase has kind of become better than I was at that point in my career when I was coming up through there and trying to get in, and getting into this racing thing. He's a lot of fun to work with. He knows his stuff. Very, very easy to work with. I've gotten old and cantankerous.
Not Joe. Can't imagine.
It feels like Joe was old and cantankerous from the moment I met him, but hey, what do I know? Yeah.
Well, there's probably some truth to that.
At least half of that. I'll let you decide whether he was old or just cantankerous.
So Joe,
Yeah.
let me ask you. You're going to be out there all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday there's a truck race. Saturday is the Infinity competition, and then obviously the Cup on Sunday. Are you staying somewhere closer to, or are you making the trek across 840 from Franklin?
Can I plead the fifth on that?
Oh,
I don't want to bullseye somewhere around Almaville Road.
You're in the witness protection plan.
No, I'll be traveling back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the struggles, but that's also one of the things that held that racetrack back was the real infrastructure just did not catch up. And that's one reason you didn't get a cup race. There was really, 20 years ago, there weren't enough rooms in the Murfreesboro, Lebanon area to handle what would have come. Now we've grown more. Nashville's grown out. Mount Juliet has grown huge. Lebanon's grown. Murfreesboro, need we say more? So, now it's a little bit easier, I think, for fans to be able to come in.
But still not a lot in the immediate area.
No, there's not much of anything in the immediate area. It's just that making that drive across there 3 days in a row would kind of, I wouldn't love it.
Just such a weird drive.
Especially in the traffic that I would anticipate.
Well, and part of that is having driven the 840 Autobahn several times. It's just, it's the one place, I got to be honest, and statute of limitations has run out since the last time I did this, but it's one of the few places in this world where I have looked down doing 90 miles an hour and see somebody behind me flashing the lights because I didn't get over quick enough. And that was in the right lane.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. It really is. We drove it 2 weeks ago going to the Watermelon Festival out in Cookeville, and it's insane. I mean, you can't drive if you're not driving 75, just take back roads. And that is the bare minimum. It's insane.
Driving 75 has never been an issue for me.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just saying, Mo fits in on 840 a little better than some folks like myself. But I grew up drive 5 under the speed limit. My granddad would tell me. So
goodness!
I have a number, and I set my cruise, and you're just going to have to be happy with that.
Go around. Use the shoulder if you got to. Huh?
Well, I was good. That's why God made a left lane.
That's right. There you go. Joe, we appreciate your time, man, as always.
Guys, it is always good to talk to you guys. Hope you'll come out. Don't forget, Friday night's truck race, a portion of the ticket sales, Mo, go to Middle Tennessee State University, and the Charlie Daniels, his wife's military home there. Gosh, I don't have it in front of me. But you can see it on Facebook. See it at NASHVILLESuperspeedway.com. You need to get your tickets for Friday night.
Truck races are always unique. They're fun. You should watch those.
Yep.
Joe, again, once again, we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to the Ally 400 and the rest of the weekend at Nashville Superspeedway out in Gladeville.
It's going to be fun. Guys, y'all be good.
All
Hey,
right.
you too, man.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have another guest, as you see on your screen there, NUBYJAS WILBORN. we'll be talking a little Auburn baseball and the Men's College World Series as the Tigers take on the Hogs, the Omahogs, tonight. So come back with us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones and Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Oh, welcome back in. Brand new camera angles and stuff on the walls. Not brand new stuff on the walls. This is old stuff. We just actually put it up. So there's that.
Some of this stuff has been with us through 3 different studios.
That's correct.
Yes, so.
It has. So here we are.
You know the whole studio thing. Basically, we look at it like where the 3 of us are. It's like Air Force One. Whatever flying vessel the president's on,
That's Air Force One.
it's Air Force One, I think, or Marine One, or what have you. But this is the studio. So wherever the 3 of us are,
Studio One.
Studio One. Well, we'll go with maybe with a better name. But anyway, yeah, you get the idea.
It works
The
out.
Main Street Sports Today studio.
There you go.
Yeah.
MSST.
Wherever we are.
That's right.
Yeah.
It can be a rolling studio. It has been a rolling studio, and hopefully it'll be rolling.
And it can be what's the word I'm looking for? It can be
Bought.
okay. There we go.
Yeah. I mean,
It's for sale.
just call it what it
Sure.
is. Yeah. It can be yours.
Instead of the Main Street Sports Today studio, it can be the blank studio, just like
Insert
our
your
Braves,
business here.
just like our Braves segment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. For the low.
Any price. Yeah, exactly.
Make us an offer.
$99.99. $99.
We are. JP, did you say it was 3-0 through 4?
3-0 after 4 in the top of the 5th. Texas A&M leading Notre Dame in elimination game in Omaha.
Elimination game number 1 of 2 today, as the 6 o'clock game features the Auburn Tigers and Arkansas Razorbacks. After Arkansas hammered Stanford and then got hammered by Ole Miss, Auburn looking to continue their fantastic run to Omaha and try to reach the bracket 2 finals. And talking with us now is NUBYJAS Wilborn. NUBYJAS, what's going on, man?
Man, nothing much, man. It's a beautiful day out here, man. It's trying to make it.
A little warm out there, is it not?
Yeah, man. It's been warm, which is crazy because coming from being out in Oregon at the Super Regional, it was 55 degrees every day and raining and cloudy and dark. Then, you get back to Auburn for like a day or so, kind of recalibrate. And obviously it's hot, and then you go to Omaha and it's hot. So a lot of body adjustments. And you look at the Auburn team when they were out there in Corvallis, they were driving an hour each way on the bus because Oregon State had graduation that weekend.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So a lot of, the fact that the way they played in that second game, getting that win, fighting through some at-bats, when they could have folded up the tents and went home. Credit to Butch Thompson, Gabe Gross, Tim Hudson on the coaching staff, and obviously Sonny D and the rest of those guys. I know you guys got some stuff you want to get into.
Oh, absolutely. And you touched on it right there. Sonny DeShara, man, I was not aware of him. I guess my SEC exposure during the regular season was pretty well focused on Tennessee and Vanderbilt. This is a kid that transferred from Samford and wound up this year as Southeastern Conference Player of the Year. And I was sitting here having the conversation with Chris. I know recruiting is an inexact science. I get it. But how does a kid wind up as the SEC Co-Player of the Year after starting his career at Samford?
Well, but also, guys get better and guys improve. He's from Hoover, which is Birmingham, which you would think Bama or UAB or Auburn would have got their hands on the kid, but the kid goes into Samford, obviously a local Alabama school, and of course with the transfer portal and NIL, it now maybe gives guys to get on these levels and improve and then transfer on if they're not recruited the way they want to be. And, as baseball teams, you only get those 13.5 scholarships. That's kind of an issue, combined with Alabama not having a full state lottery, which kind of creates some of the other financial issues. It's a lot of different things that Auburn has to do, but suffice to say, Sonny has really proven, and there was questions. Could he hit SEC pitching? It's one thing in the Big South, no offense to that conference, but, it ain't the SEC, okay? And as good as the SEC is in football, one could argue it might be a baseball conference or a basketball conference, depending on which you believe, or maybe a women's gymnastics conference, as Auburn considers itself to be everything school. But seriously, the SEC, you look at it. Auburn was picked to finish last in the SEC West, but as I wrote the other day, there's 4 SEC West teams in the College World Series. So was it disrespect or was it not?
It's not really disrespect if more than half of your division is in the final 6 of the College World Series.
Somebody had to finish last.
And look, LSU obviously had their year this year.
Sure.
Alabama was a pretty decent program. Over on the east side, Kentucky dominated Auburn at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you mentioned your local guys, Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Georgia's program has been kind of middling, trying to get it going. It's a tough league. Oh, and then, by the way, if you really want to go there, what about Texas and Oklahoma, who come into the conference in the next couple of years?
Yeah. And what about the defending national champion that doesn't make it to the conference tournament?
Exactly.
Out of the West.
Yeah.
So
But that's what I'm saying. So you look at it.
Yeah.
You look at it in hindsight, obviously you have a defending national champion. You're not going to make them last, predicted. And Auburn was a sub-500 team last year. But this also goes back to credit to Sonny DeShara. He changes everything about that lineup. He makes it a dynamic lineup. He makes it very dangerous to play against, because the one thing about him in that 3-hole, if you get any runner on base, now you got to pitch to him. Unless you got first base open, you intentionally walk him. At some points, it looked like Barry Bonds treatment watching this guy.
And he's in scoring position as soon as he steps in the batter's box.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, listen, he's not scoring from first. from home unless you hit it out of the ballpark, okay?
Right.
But in that batter's box, that man is hell. I mean, now, he's not the swiftest of foot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you need somebody who can leg out a single, that ain't gonna be him. If you need somebody who can go first or third, that ain't gonna be him. But if you need somebody to put the ball in the seats, that's him.
That's him.
But also he has a really good eye as well. Very disciplined hitter.
He's been fun to watch. He really has. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
This entire Auburn team has been fun to watch, specifically, as we mentioned yesterday, in that 7th inning. And, Auburn not afraid to go to their big guns for an extended period of time out of the bullpen. Blake Burkhalter in the Game 3, the deciding Game 3 in Oregon State. At Oregon State. And then yesterday, this guy comes in and strikes out everybody. That's got to be a luxury that Auburn maybe didn't know they had going into this year.
Well, no, I mean, how could you know that? How could you know you have a guy who could just go get you 8-out save when you need one? And I mean, like you don't predict that because how we use relievers, the 1 inning, maybe even one batter. I guess now you changed it in Major League Baseball where they got a 3 batter rule. But outside of that, you're very used to specialists. Now Burkhalter's like, just give me everything. If you need me, I'm going to take us home. And that is an incredible thing to have. That's very rare in baseball.
And he's going to take you home from whenever you put him in, whether it be the 7th, like you said, whether it be the 9th. I mean, he struck out 5 of the 6 batters he faced yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah, the last guy.
And keep in mind, you put him in very dangerous situations. You're coming on with 2 runners on, bases loaded, sometimes bases loaded and 1 out. Bases loaded, no outs. And here comes Burkhalter to get those 3 outs, say it to the 7th, then come back in the 8th, and then finish off in the 9th. Or come back in the 9th or in the 8th, where you may have runners on the corners with 1 out. And their best hitter coming up the bat. Who comes in? Burkhalter. But then they got long guys like Tommy Sheehan, who has come on very strong, giving you 3-4 innings. They have a walk-on redshirt freshman, John Armstrong, who back in Corvallis, they lost the game, but if he doesn't go that inning in the 3rd, who knows what happens? Or Chase Isbell. I mean, you just go on down the line like they have some depth in that bullpen. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to have Burkhalter tonight, which could be an issue against, obviously, a good Arkansas team. But, here we go. It's College World Series.
It is the College World Series, and pitching is always the problem in Omaha. Arkansas threw a lot of folks last night. What do they have left tonight? Or did they throw a lot of folks hoping that they could come back to those same folks tonight because they didn't overuse them?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? I mean, and it's really tough to tell because at this point, these guys have played, 63 games, lots of travel, particularly with these super regionals, getting to Omaha, everything else. I mean, who knows? I mean, but that's what makes it. Maybe, their starter gets rolling, and Auburn obviously going to need a good outing from Mason Burnett. He's got to put some innings together because they've had to go into that bullpen twice already in the 2 games. So he can't be a 1-inning or 2-inning guy. He's got to give you a quality start for Auburn to have a legitimate chance. And again, you're probably not going to have Burkhalter at the back end. So maybe this is Carson Skipper or some of those guys. You know what I'm saying? And you look at how it sets up, same thing for Arkansas. Who do you got left? This is where, I guess this ain't basketball, but this might be somebody's one shining moment.
Nice.
And NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com with us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little College World Series and Auburn in particular as they get ready for their elimination game at 6 tonight against SEC West rival Arkansas. And NUBYJAS, this isn't a guy who's going to have an impact tonight or in Omaha, but what can you tell us about freshman pitcher Cade Granzow out of Brentwood? Did you get a chance to see him at all this year?
A little bit. It's still early. It seemed to have a nice little mix of pitches. I think next year you'll start to see more of him, but he's definitely somebody they've been high on.
I mean, you can't not be high on Cade Granzow. What a talent he is, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do for this program for sure, Mo.
No record, 4.91 ERA and 7 appearances this year. So, again, walked in as a freshman, two-sport guy out of high school. NUBYJAS, do you know if there's any intention on his part to try to play football at this point, or is he strictly baseball?
As of now, strictly baseball, but I mean, let's be honest. If he could play, Brian Harsin could use some help, okay? We're not too far out from when they try to put a coup on a man, in public. So if he can play, what position does he play in football?
It's quarterback.
Quarterback.
Oh, well, listen, we don't know who the Auburn starting quarterback is going to be. Now, I don't know how long it's been since he's thrown a ball or been in the offense, and maybe a little too late for this season to learn a whole offense. But, between Zach Calzada and TJ Finley and Holden Grenier and the kid from Oregon who grew up in Hoover, Brooke, between those 4 guys, one of them is going to be the starter. Maybe so. Why not you man for Brentwood? Why not?
NUBYJAS, if you saw the way that he ended a playoff game last year, it wouldn't matter. The last time Mo saw him throw a football, it was underhanded for a touchdown.
For a game-winning touchdown, yeah. So,
well, he might have more touchdowns. He might have more touchdowns than some of the Auburn quarterbacks currently. So I don't know. No, but seriously, it's just. The Auburn football team's in an interesting situation because it's very difficult to know what they are without knowing who the quarterback's going to be. So why not this kid? But seriously, I think he probably has a better career on the baseball diamond, at least as of now. I think Butch Thompson's a little bit more secure.
There's that. NUBYJAS WILBORN, AL.com, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. NUBYJAS, appreciate your time, man, and enjoy Omaha.
Hey, man, thank y'all, brothers.
All right. When we come back, halftime? Halftime? Or
I
no?
don't think so. I think we're going to go to the second half.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little Braves. Stay with us.
The city famous for its music is quiet now, but it's about to be overwhelmed by the symphony of speed. Nashville Superspeedway will be rocking from the pit to the grandstand. June 24th through 26th, the Ally 400 NASCAR Cup Series race weekend brings a mix of incredible racing and live entertainment. Tickets are going fast, so visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com today and join the full throttle fun.
Fast and Furious first half here on Main Street Sports Today. As we head into the second half, we'll be joined by Chip Walters, our regular weekly visit on all things Blue Raiders. So stay tuned for that. Also, Top 5 Tuesday. This is going to be sports documentaries. Sports documentaries. Start thinking about that. So we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. We'll send you back across the room. My buddies, the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Yes, it is Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Time to talk a little Braves baseball, Mo, as tonight the Braves get Wyatt Earp on the bump, also known as Spencer Strider, who comes in with a 2.45 ERA, 2.06 FIP. Of the three, Max Fried, Kyle Wright, and Spencer Strider, who has the lowest ERA?
I guess it's Spencer Strider.
That's correct. Now, after his first 2 appearances from the bullpen earlier this year, would you have ever expected, 1, that he would be in the rotation, and 2, with the lowest ERA of the season?
Wouldn't have necessarily expected with the lowest ERA of the season, but, they really liked Strider coming out of spring training in particular, and not surprised to see him kind of stabilize on the back end of that rotation. I mean, You tried Bryce Elder, you tried a couple of other guys, and didn't really work. It threatened to kind of be a revolving door there, but clearly he's taken his chance and he's run with it. And, 2.45 ERA. And with the bullpen that they've got, anytime you can get 5 or 6 out of him, you feel like you're in pretty good shape. And that's pretty much what he's been given.
Yeah, and he's developed a couple secondary pitches that aren't terrible to get away from that triple-digit heat.
Well, and the thing is, when you're throwing triple-digit heat, your secondaries don't have to be great.
They just have to change the mindset, change the eye level or the timing.
Yep, and he's done a really good job with that, with the changeup in particular. So
his cutter, if he can get it to a point where because it's going to be 96, 97 and cutting, holy crap. If he can ever get it consistently for a strike, he may be the best pitcher ever.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't even have to throw it consistently, just 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, you throw it 2 or 3 times in the inning.
Just to get you off of fastball a little bit.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And as far as run support, he's been able to get a little bit. He's had 3 or more runs in 3 of his 4 starts. And that's kind of a big deal because, the San Francisco Giants, by the way, won 100 games last year, won the NL West, and are pretty darn good.
And Logan Webb is kind of at the front of that. And so to win a game when he was on the mound for the other team, doesn't happen a whole lot to the Giants.
I was really hoping that they meant Jacob, but I forgot he was on our team.
Wrong Webb.
Darn.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But say unfortunately, but a great job by this Braves team. That this Braves rotation has been really impressive.
It's a little disappointing that Max Fried throws 7 shutout and winds up with a no decision. But the bottom line is they won the ball game,
but that's kind of what you expect in a Fried-Webb showdown. 2 of the best teams, 2 of the best pitchers in the league.
Yeah.
And you got exactly what you hope for if you're a baseball fan, is for those guys to go out and deal.
And they did.
Yeah. Kenley Jansen gets the win last night because just like we drew it up.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves got a couple of got some late game heroics from some unusual suspects.
I guess that's one way to put it. And after Matt Olson draws the walk, you ran for him with Phil Gosselin off the bench.
How do you feel about that move? I mean, hindsight notwithstanding.
No. I had no problem with it. In fact, there was a game a couple of days ago that I thought they were going to run for Olson because, he's not slow, but in a must-score situation, I'd rather have somebody else out there. And with Gosselin now on the bench in particular, you've got some options if you had to go back out there for the 10th.
Well, not just Gosselin, but
you've got the new guy that just came up. Mike Ford?
Mike Ford, yes.
Yeah. And I don't know that I would have necessarily put him in. I think I probably would have
moved.
I think you probably move. It kind of looks like fruit basket turnover when it's all over, but I think you move Riley to first. You move Arcia to third, and you put Gosselin in at second, I think is what I would have done because you might need Ford off the bench later if you go to the 10th.
Right. Yeah. And I completely agree with you. I thought it was a great move. It turned out to work exactly the way Brian Snicker drew it up.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Arcia has been on absolute tear.
I don't want to listen to anybody talk about what are we going to do about second base. Because what we're going to do about second base
keep playing
is
this
leave
guy.
11 out there.
Keep playing that guy.
Yeah.
And I understand Orlando Arcia throughout his career has not been some world beater.
He's not been an all-star, but he's not been bad.
But
I don't know why the Brewers traded him.
There's a level or something about mid-level players that tend to play up under Brian Snitker for whatever reason. And it specifically in the field, not necessarily pitching, but for
position players.
And it's got, I say it's got to be Ron Washington, right? Now, I know that Ron doesn't necessarily help with hitting. He's not the hitting coach, but Arcia has turned into a completely different ball player since, this year and much of last year.
I just think that there is an atmosphere there that allows, I don't think there's a lot of pressure there.
That's part of, one, it's part of why players like playing for Brian Snitker, right? But two, it's also part of the reason why they struggled early in the year without any leadership, without anybody taking that role over, specifically saying, this is the way we got to do things, etc. So once that balance is reached, and it has been reached to this point, I think it's hard to beat this team.
Yeah, and getting this 7-game homestand started the way they did last night. The talk across baseball was, again, they were 21-8 over this last 29 games against teams with non-winning records.
Played nobody, Paul.
Well, have we checked that box now?
One would think. I thought the box was checked when we went 4-4 against the Brewers, 2-2 against the Mets on the road,
2-2 against the Padres,
in San Diego, and LA as well. I thought we'd already checked those boxes. Maybe I was wrong. I don't think I was.
Clearly you were wrong. This day in Braves baseball, because I hear the music. On June 21st, 1959, in the only 3-homer game of his career, Hank Aaron powers Milwaukee past host San Francisco 13-3 at Seal Stadium. Aaron went 3 for 6. There we go. Hitting 2-run homers in the top of the first, 6th, and 7th innings to account for half of the Braves' 6 long balls in the victory.
Wow.
Yeah. And apparently the Braves, something agrees with the Braves, San Francisco, June 21st, because in 1967, Atlanta Braves catcher Bob Uecker hits the only grand slam of his career in a 9-2 win at Candlestick over the Giants.
Bob Uecker, the greatest play-by-play man of all.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah, just a bit outside of Candlestick Park for a grand slam, baby.
There you
Hello.
go.
Hello.
So what this is telling me is maybe the Braves need to be playing on the road against the Giants instead of at home on June 21st.
This is interesting that they're playing the Giants.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll see what happens tonight.
We will, in fact. Let's talk a little Middle Tennessee State athletics and some ice cream with Chip Walters. Chocolate Chip Walters. On the other side of the break. Stick around. Main Street Sports is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It is Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, and you can see if you're watching, yep, Chip is in queue. He's right there. Right there. Welcome back in. Ice cream sounds awfully good right now.
Wish I had
It sounds awfully good.
Wish I had some.
I know.
I'd love some ice cream right now.
If you're out there and you're looking for some ice cream, let me just tell you how you can get some free ice cream from White Chocolate Chip Walters.
Oh, man.
Just join his mailing list at choosechip.net. Yeah.
That's correct. That is 100% right. You get a buy one, get one free at Hattie Jane's, which ain't bad.
No, it's pretty good
You
stuff.
know, I've never had Hattie Jane's because I've always been so full when I left buckets that I didn't have room for it. So I guess I'm just going to have to go for the ice cream. You know,
Yeah.
life is short. Eat dessert first.
And that'll get you free pie from Edwards, too, if you use that on Twitter. It happened.
Okay.
I said that one time, and Edwards Desserts was like, hey, we're going to send you a coupon for a free pie. And I was like, cool. So there you
Come on.
go.
Come on.
All the free desserts. But yeah, Chip, tell us about what's going on with you and Hattie Jane's, man. That sounds
Well,
fun.
I mean, that's just I do a monthly promotion with my real estate business, and there's maybe a couple of hundred people that got that postcard, and if you would like to get that postcard every month, it has a different offer of some sort. Typically, buy one get one free kind of things. Could be donuts, could be whatever other unhealthy things we can find to share. Just go to my Facebook page and send me a message and with an address, and you'll get on my email or I'll get on my mailing list, and you'll get a little mail from me every month. So
Sounds
there,
like a good idea.
not bad, not bad.
I guess maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
And I'm not in the market for a home, but
315 West 7th Street, baby.
Yeah.
send us one. That's all I know.
Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chip, it's not the dog days of summer, at least not on the calendar, but it feels like August. But
Well, it does. And as I was, I'm coming out of my home office today, and I was just driving across Murfreesboro, and my the thermometer in my car said 100 degrees, and of course, heading to First Horizon tonight to see the Sounds in Gwinnett, and I've got an all-star crew riding with me tonight: Mr. Palmer, Wayne Gross, and Bob Jameson. So we're heading up here after a while, and a little name drop in there. That's quite all right. Dwayne Hickey's going to join us as part of our radio crew, and so we're going to go up and it's a True Blue night, and there was an opportunity for discounted tickets, and so we're going to be up there having a big time, and of course, on the night we go, it's 1,000,000 degrees, but it's a dry heat right now, so it cools off quick.
so's an oven.
Yeah.
had I known that it was dry, it was True Blue night, tonight, and B, that the game that I thought I was going to cover tonight was last night, I probably would have tried to make arrangements to go to that myself. But wanted to ask you, Chip, as you prepare for the upcoming football season, know that you've got some downtime right now, but the Blue Raider Blitz is coming up.
Interesting you mentioned that. I just happen to have the dates and locations right in front of me.
Oh, look at that.
But just as if it were ripped from the headlines today.
There you go.
But,
all the news that fits.
That's correct. Yeah. When news breaks, we fix it. So the Blue Raider Blitz, the dates and times have been announced, and they're compacted into about 8 days. It'll kick off in your hometown of Franklin, Tennessee on July 20th. That's a Wednesday, noon to 1:30 at Party Foul in Franklin. So, I mean, at each of these locations, all they ask you to do is RSVP and you get put on the food list. And that is basically just to make sure they have enough to cover everybody who has RSVP. Also on that same night of July 20th, 6 to 8 p.m. in Nashville. So all the folks in Davidson County or wherever you'd like to come from, it'll be at the listening room in Nashville, and there will be obviously food there, and there will also be that's also going to double kind of as a Nashville media opportunity for Coach Stock and other coaches that might be there. On Thursday the 21st, Bosky's Grill at Willowbrook Golf Course in Manchester. That's at lunchtime. And at dinner on the 21st, Lee Victory Park in Smyrna. Had a huge crowd in Smyrna last year. Monday the 25th in Mount Juliet at the Pub, 6 to 8 in Shelbyville on the Square. And then it will wrap up at Cannonsburg in Murfreesboro on Thursday, July 28th. They're going to move that one outdoors because the crowd was bigger than the building a year ago, and that's going to go down at Cannonsburg. They're going to have food trucks, things like that, but we'll still need you to RSVP. And I'll try to answer the question before you ask it, is that I think Columbia is going to be one of those that will be in every other year, possibly, and then may swap in a Tullahoma next year, maybe for Shelbyville. Some of those towns, I think McMinnville will be on the list at some point, but Columbia was a good turnout at lunch last year. This year, that date is going to Manchester, so we'll be over there and hitting a lot of those dates.
Should be a lot of fun. I think last year's went over pretty well.
It did. Just about every stop. I mean, we were at the Boathouse in Franklin and had more people than the place would hold. We were at Third and Home, right by First Horizon Park in Nashville, and that had a good turnout. Murfreesboro, as we mentioned, was super packed. Columbia at lunchtime was pretty decent. So they just continue to move those around and do a little grassroots this time of year.
Season ticket information, posters, contests, prize giveaways, and appearances by the Spirit Squads and Lightning will highlight most of the events.
Wouldn't you want to be wearing the Lightning costume on July 20th? Or how about June 21st?
No, on both of those. Fans can also purchase 2022 Blue Raider football season tickets at each stop. And as you mentioned, Rick Stockstill will be on hand, and other members of the football coaching staff and various head coaches from other MTSU athletic programs.
Coach Insel went to a couple of them. I know Coach Toman went to a couple of them. Coach McDevitt went. Then Jimmy Borndame tries to go as much as he can. Same goes for the golf coaches. And Chris Massaro is I think he was at every one of them last year. So, and Dr. McPhee was at 2 or 3 of them. So, that says a good bit when your AD and your president, head out that want to go out and meet fans, one-on-one. That was says a lot for them.
That's a lot of fun though, when you get a chance to just kind of hobnob with the coaches, rub elbows a little bit, and just say hello, shake hands, and kiss babies, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the cool things about, that level of college athletics is that exact point, is that you do have a little bit more accessibility to the folks that you are giving your money to. If you're a donor,
well,
no matter what level donor you may be.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Going back years and years, at middle, and I think one of the you're kind of in it's either a sweet spot or however you want to call it, because it actually kind of correlates in with like the transfer portal. Coach Stock will tell you that we're at a level where the kid who had a great season at South Carolina State looks at middle as a really nice move up, and maybe the third running back at Kentucky looks and sees it as here's a spot where I can go and really get more playing time. And I think they've used that to their advantage, but I also think that correlates into what you're talking about with the fan experience. It is still community based enough to where, you can come down, sit down, chat, and say, hey, have y'all seen this guy over at my high school? And they'll say, yeah, we probably have. And talk a little bit about, whatever happens to be going on, because it's the same group of coaches you see in the grocery store or wherever it might be. So it is a lot of fun. And, and the coaches are calling, as they meet up in these different communities, the loyal fans who've been there for years, when they come to these events and, coach calls them out by name, hey, good to see you, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun and reconnecting with people at a time of the year when you have a chance to do that.
And what I think, Chip, is kind of cool about MTSU, and obviously my background with them goes back 35 years, but it feels like all of those coaches that you talk about are really approachable, really personable in a manner that really would show up in this forum. But I mean, regardless, I don't know if that's a mid-major thing, and if it changes as you go up in stature or what, but these coaches feel like folks that you can talk to.
Oh, I think you're right. And I think, just you get to the Power 5 level, and I think there is, just by the nature of it, there's a good bit of insulation between those coaches and the fans. But you're right. I mean, talk about the four sports we were talking about, with football, with Coach Stock, basketball with Nick and Rick, and Toman in baseball. We all know that Coach Insel has never met a stranger. There's not anybody he won't sit down and talk to. If you want to talk to Nick McDevitt, don't expect a handshake and a blow by, and because he's going to give yourself 5 minutes, because he's going to talk and he's going to ask about you and your family and all that. Jim Toman, same way, and everybody has questions for the football coach and about recruiting, scheduling, in our case, the changing look of the league, all of that. So at every stop, we're going to have a Q&A session, have a little stage, folks get to eat and all that. And then I'll be moderating a little Q&A at each place. And I promise you, I can probably make a list of the top 5 questions that are going to be asked at probably every site. And that's just what I talked about. And I think right now in particular with the comings and goings in Conference USA, and, what's that going to do to the football schedule? We're actually going to have 3 teams less in basketball, but we're going to play 2 more conference games this year, and explain, why is the math that way? And what about the new schools coming in? All those kind of things. And, the transfer portal, who did we lose? Who's coming in? Do you feel like you gained more than you lost? Those kind of things. And obviously the NIL is a question that I think every coach, I think the fans want to hear their take on those? Is it a good thing for middle? Is it or is it something that we're going to struggle with? And how do we address it? And having Chris Massaro there will go a long way in some of that. And I think clearing up some of that. And the other big topic will be the $100 million construction project that has already started and will really get underway in earnest in the next month when they break ground on the new tennis facility. And then as soon as football season's over, the old weight room and game day room come down, and the new student athlete performance center will start right there. So a lot of things going on, a lot of things for folks to talk about. So hope they'll check out those dates on goblueraiders.com and come visit with us.
One final thing before we let you go, Chip, I wanted to mention, I don't know, I assume you guys didn't mention this last week because it came out 5 days ago, not 7. So Jalen Lane named a preseason first-team All-American by the man Phil Steele.
That's correct. And he was named All-American. Well, he was named All-American as a punt returner. But, you talk about guys that are worth the price of admission. Jalen Lane is one of those guys because he is a kick returner, punt returner, and a wide receiver. And he was just a freshman a year ago. And, football IQ off the charts, very, very exciting. And you had one thing. I did have a couple of other 3 little bullet points real quick. One was we talked about Abigail Quartang being the national runner-up in the high jump. Well, she was named the Conference USA Women's Field Athlete of the Year. No surprise there. Tyshawn Render, former Blue Raider defensive end, he was the only middle player that played in the USFL this year, and he was with the New Jersey Generals. Mm-hmm. He had 29 tackles and a sack and a half, and also Zach Keenan. Yep, made the playoffs. You're right. So Zach Keenan, Blue Raider pitcher, was signed by the Lincoln Salt Dogs of the American Association, which is now the American Association is not the American Association you and I knew, Mo. Mm-hmm. This is an independent league, and he is in Lincoln, Nebraska. Got signed a week ago, made 2 appearances, and was the pitcher of the week. He had 13 innings, 2.08 ERA, 9 Ks, and 2 walks. So congratulations to Zach on that, getting his pro career off to a good start.
That's solid.
Salty dog.
Salty dog. Yep. If you be my salty dog.
That's right. Salty dog.
Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, with us here on Main Street Sports today, as he is every Tuesday afternoon. Chip, we appreciate you, man, and stay cool.
We will try to do it. While we wait tonight, we'll hydrate at the ballpark.
There you go. And again, get on Chip's mailing list to get some free ice cream over at Hattie Jane's.
ChooseChip.net.
ChooseChip.net. There we go.
All right. Thank you, boys.
All right, we're going to talk about our favorite sports documentaries, and whittling this down to 5 was very difficult for me. I would just like to say, I'm a big documentary guy, so yeah. We'll get to it on the other side of the break. Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yalmo, Patton, JP Plant. It's been a great show. We had Joe Williams earlier, NUBYJAS WILBORN in the first half. So if you missed that, you can check that out on the podcast, or you can go back on our Twitter and Facebook or YouTube and watch it, or just visit MainStreetSportsToday.com, where all of that is housed just for your convenience. Chip Walters in the last segment. If you don't want to hear that, you can go back and listen to that as well. Now we get into Top 5 Tuesday, brought to you by our friends at Mid-South 5 Fitness. And it's two great locations, one in Columbia, the other in Franklin. And Mid-South 5 Fitness is proud to bring you the Mid-South 5 Top 5 each week. Visit them at steelathletes.com, STEEL athletes.com, or on Instagram at steelathletes. As I said off the air, guys, it was hard to whittle this down to 5. Tough.
I hate that you mentioned what you mentioned.
Same, because I'm sitting here scrolling through.
I know.
And
now you have
extra.
It's just totally. It just dropped the bomb on my list. Thank you very much.
I'm just not going to include them, and I'm just going to throw in the disclaimer that
they're all honorable mentions.
That my top 5 does not include any of the SEC storied documentaries, because I could probably come up with a top 5 out of them alone.
I would struggle to bring a top 5 of those alone. And matter of fact, if you want to, I can take my 2 out and I can add my 2 honorable mentions in, and we can do a top 5 SEC story later if you'd like.
Yeah,
okay, we can do that.
Okay,
I'm okay. Yeah, because
I don't have any. Like I said,
I don't either.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. I've got 2 honorable mentions. I'll just slide those in. We're good to go.
Okay.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We first of all, we need to tell folks that this is kind of on the backs of Dream On.
Have you seen it, JP?
I have not yet, but I'm going to do some homework before later in the week, hopefully.
Yeah, you need to see it. I mean, if you like women's basketball at all,
or CM Newton in general,
you should see
Dawn Staley's in it, right?
Dawn Staley.
Yeah, I got to, when I first moved to Charlotte, worked for the Bobcats, they still owned the Charlotte Sting at that point, and she, of course, was their captain and star player, and so I've got a little tie-in to Dawn Staley's.
You know, I've been around people over the course of my career that you could just listen to them talk. You know, Sylvester Croom. As I look at this SEC story, it would be one of those. Tony Gwynn, I had the opportunity to talk to him. And guys like that, Dawn Staley would be on that list of people that I could just listen to talk about anything.
Yeah, no question. So, Dream On, the ESPN
30 for
30. That's a 3-part series.
Yeah, so give yourself some time so that you're not watching it at 2 o'clock in the morning like I was a few nights ago.
There you go. We'll start number 5. JP, you got 5?
Yeah, I do.
We got it before.
I've even got an honorable mention.
Whoa!
Shut the front door. All right, here we go. Mine are all 30 for 30.
That's fine.
That's just what I've seen. So, winning time: Reggie Miller and the New York Knicks, Spike Lee.
Also my number 5. So
Okay.
keep going. It really was good though.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I mean, kind of getting into the backstory of Reggie and Spike.
Mm-hmm. And that game alone, what he did in the final minute or so was, I mean, you'll never see that again. You'll never see that again.
I don't know. We saw 7 points in one possession. Not too long.
Lord.
Yeah, not the end of the game of Eastern Conference Finals, though.
But still.
Yeah.
My number 5 is, and I try to resist putting it on my list because it just seems, I don't know, hoop earrings. I think it was kind of the standard early. It kind of set the tone for sports documentaries.
8.3 on IMDb. You don't get a lot of those, so that's totally understandable. JP, number 4.
Number 4, gonna go Catholics versus convicts. The story of Notre Dame and Miami, in particular, about the T-shirt makers, students at Notre Dame, that created this T-shirt that sold like gangbusters. And it's a fascinating story. Of course, the backdrop is, those two teams, two of the best in the country, the 80s, late 80s. And it was, but the story about how these shirts were made, how they kind of went underground for this, it's fantastic.
If you've not seen it, it's hilarious. I mean, it's pretty amazing what those students went through to get those
Talk about
T-shirts
some
made.
ingenuity, entrepreneurship. It's fantastic.
Kind of pushing the envelope a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can do that. Back then, it was tough to keep that kind of thing under wraps because you had to actually screen print the shirt.
Yeah, but nowadays, with licensing being what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, the legal aspect of it.
Yeah, you
If
can't
it's
really
just
do it,
words. I mean, classless versus Catholics at UT Notre Dame. I don't think that anybody paid any licensing fees for that. It's just words.
Yeah, whatever. What's your number 4? I guarantee you somebody's trying to get
They might be. It's of Miracles and Men.
That's good.
The Miracle on Ice.
Yes, I do believe in miracles.
My number 4 is More Than a Game. LeBron and his St. Vincent St. Mary's high school team, and
I remember watching that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I remember watching the actual game.
Oh, the game.
I watched the actual game. Him in high school, and I mean, I was a senior basketball player in high school, so like that was like, man, that's so cool. High school basketball on TV.
that makes sense. Oh my goodness, I forgot one.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
We'll get to it. Number 3.
Number
Jake.
3, Survive and Advance. Story of the Jim Valvano, the 1983 NC State Wolfpack in the NCAA tournament, and what they went through. And Terry Gannon, who is an announcer at the highest level, was part of that team, and the backdrop of how they go about talking the story. They're at a bar somewhere in modern day times, and it just goes back and forth, and they're telling stories, and then you see things. It's well done.
It is.
And what a just what a great story Jim Valvano was. What a character. One of the best all-time characters.
I'll agree with that. My number 3 is When We Were Kings, Muhammad Ali's story.
It's a good one. My number 3, which was my number 2 until about 45 seconds ago, is Rand University.
It was on my honorable mentions. So
The Randy Moss going back to West Virginia, and it still blows my mind that Randy Moss and Jason Williams played on the same high school basketball team.
insane.
All right.
Try playing those guys.
No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, number 2. My last 2 have a little length to them. It's not just one; it's a series. But the Celtics-Lakers, that 3-part series about the '80s, that's where I fell in love with basketball. And I just remember, when I hear Dick Stockton's voice, I think of the Boston Garden.
Oh yeah.
and the Celtics and the Lakers of the 80s. It's just that was my formative years for basketball, so that took me back.
I hear you. Number 2 for me, small potatoes. Who killed the USFL?
Not surprised
Mainly-
that's in there. Yeah.
Mainly because they got Trump to sit down
Yeah.
and actually have a conversation. It was,
How old is that though?
I think he was president when they filmed it. I believe he was president when they filmed it, which is incredible.
It really is.
Not that the man ever turned down a TV appearance opportunity.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, you throw an open mic and a camera,
but still, I mean, we're going to talk about the USFL right now.
cameraman.
No, it was before that.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at a YouTube from 2011 on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
2009. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we? Number 2?
Yes, number 2.
No, my number 2, and I'm betting you guys haven't seen it, and you need to. The documentary is called Undefeated. Somebody spent a year with the Manassas high school football team out of Memphis, and they had been god awful. And they got a volunteer coach. They some kind of way lured him over from one of the private schools down there. He owned his own business, that kind of thing, and he kind of turned that program around. And somebody just happened to be doing a documentary on it at the time, and it turned into a really feel-good kind of story.
I've heard about it, but I have not seen it. But I'm intrigued by it.
I actually watched it when we were sent home a couple of years ago. So,
All right, we're down to number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1. It's The Last Dance. I mean, come on.
It was really good.
It was well done. And another thing, of course, being a Vandy guy, Will Purdue played at Vanderbilt, went to the Bulls, and I, you missed it last week. Our top 5 sporting events that attended on my list was a Bulls-Lakers game from 1991, when the regular season at the old Chicago Stadium, Magic and Jordan in the regular season game there, but it was. The Last Dance was fantastic, phenomenal.
I'll agree with you. The Last Dance was really good. It's not my number 1, but yeah, I would probably put it on my honorable mention. My number 1 is, to me, the greatest documentarian of all time, Ken Burns, baseball. Now, don't if you're not tired, or if you are tired, don't start it. Like, he's gonna put you to sleep if you're not real interested in it. But if you're interested in baseball at all, it's the best.
but if you're tired, don't watch it because it's like 9 hours.
Yeah, it's forever long. You gotta like have some time. Like it's a 3-part series. He just made it into 1.
My number 1 is The Best That Never Was. The Marcus Dupree.
That is a good one.
I guess, is it E60?
No, that was a 30 for 30.
What's it? Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked about watching LeBron your senior year. Marcus Dupree was a senior at Philadelphia High School in Mississippi, about the same, right around my senior year as well. So I mean, we were age-wise kind of counterparts, and you heard about him, but the difference was, you didn't see all this, but you heard about this running back down in Mississippi and all that, and then he goes to Oklahoma and does all that he does, and seeing that all put together, it was really kind of cool. He follows me on Twitter.
Oh, that's awesome. Any honorable mentions other than
The U, which was one of the first 30 for 30 that I saw, I thought was well done.
Oh yeah. I've got a couple. I didn't realize Last Chance U was a documentary.
technically, I guess
it would be.
Because as I was looking up lists to try to remind myself, that one kept coming up.
See that one
and
going
so
on.
if that's a documentary, then that's certainly on my honorable mention. But also, Netflix has a 6-part series, Bad Sport.
Yes. Those are
And
really good.
one of them was The Need for Weed. It involved
Yes.
this Indy driver, Randy Lanier, who was
Yes.
financing his race team by
I'll add that to my honorable mention. You are correct. That is a fantastic.
yeah.
The Need for
Highly
Speed is a
engaging.
really good one.
Yep.
I have Vic. That is, I watched the heck out of that when we were sent home a couple of years ago. Loved it. So
I watched that then too. Yeah.
really good stuff. So there you go. Top 5. Again, we could have had a top 10 on this. Like it's the sports documentaries for me. I big documentaries.
And we could have a top 10 on SEC story. Let's just do that next week.
We're going to do that. We're going to have SEC stories next week, top 5. So, hey, it's the first time we've ever gotten that taken care of
This early. Yeah.
Or we could hold on till in July for
July.
a particular week.
We might.
Maybe. May want to hold on to that one.
We might want to put that in our
I
back
smell
pocket.
what you're cooking, Rob.
Okay.
Picking up what you're putting down.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right.
Folks, we'll come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Join us because we will have Heather Williams talking about the Ally 400 as well as
Newly named
Columbia Academy.
Academy. Well,
coach.
I guess it's not so new now.
Ish.
Coached a few games.
Yeah. Jarrett Jones of Columbia Academy will join us and should be a lot of fun. So come back with us again, 2 o'clock tomorrow. We will see you then for Mo and JP. I'm Chris saying have a great day.